Well. Guys, you beat us here? We are back. Nenners, how you feeling, my man?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Well, you're looking great. Guys, appreciate you, Fooz. Appreciate you, Insomnia. Kits, get in here. This is Between Two DMs. We've done it. We've tracked him down. We've paid him. I'm not going to disclose the ransoms levied, the dowry paid, but we have Nenners in house, dude. Nenners, would you mind just taking 2 minutes, kind of introducing us, telling us, where we can find you? I mean, I know it's elusive and hard to do, but it can be done.
When the moons align, or when the mood suits me. But yeah, you can find me primarily on my sister's channel, Foozka, Twitch/Foozka, I think. I'm gonna go with that. Pretty sure Fooz will definitely.
I think at Foozka.
At Foozka, we'll go with that. Foozka is primarily where I hang out, and more or less where you'll find me in all the kooky projects she's undoubtedly dragging me into, which is always fun. Trying to think what else. Nenners, been playing D&D for a bit. Played a bunch when I was younger
Boom.
in 2E, and then recently got dragged back into it 3.5 years ago, 3-ish years ago, and with 5E, and gonna hop to some different systems after that. But yeah, that's my general background.
That's so good, man. Love it. Yeah, I mean, I guess you got dragged back in right before the pandemic. We were talking about that pre-stream. That was sort of like what re-dipped me, but you already had some momentum going.
Yeah, funny story. Well, it was my brother actually who did it. I would probably still say this is true. We're probably gamers first, and then tabletop gamers second. I would make the argument of, but we were having a hard time getting the three of us because we used to always game, my brother, my sister, and myself together. And
no, like tabletop though, or we're talking about
like
online.
Video game,
okay,
Gears
sick.
of War, like
Gears
that
of
kind of
War.
stuff.
Let's go. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Divinity,
cool.
we played together. Like it's any kind of like really cool co-op game is with.
You guys played Divinity 2 co-op?
Hell yeah.
As in like the kind of top-down, like turn-based RPG?
Yes, sir.
Wow, okay.
Several times.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Okay, hold up. Because there's a lot of things in play right now. Not least of which the fact that I just need to say hi to some people. Evie, thank you for coming through. Everybody that's here, appreciate it. I know you're here for Nenners, but it warms my heart as well. Secondly, is that Nenners is blood relative to Foozka. They have several siblings that they play tabletop with. You can find them at Foozka, spread across several different kind of iterations of different campaigns. But we're just discovering that before this even happened, before the 5e push even occurred, you guys were playing co-op Divinity 2 Original Sin. True or false?
Yes, sir.
What the fuck? True. Dude, that's crazy. Because I didn't get into Divinity until height of the pandemic. And I know the game was way late. I know everybody was already over it. But I was sort of freaking out. I was like, oh man, this is super fun. This is just like D&D. This guy's like, the way the narrator sort of just walks you through it. But I fiended for co-op because I played it once with a friend of mine and it was super fun. And then she kind of fell off and I logged 200 hours, so we were in like separate spots, but okay, that's amazing. So that was sort of the foundation. And I know from Fooz, some of the journey that has led to y'all's, channel and multiple actual plays. But for those of us that don't, could you kind of walk us through that?
Well, it started when we got dragged back in 2019 and we started playing. Obviously I live about 350 miles away from Fooz, so there was always a Roll20 / video chat element to it. And I believe we call Fooz the Archivist, which is both a title and for me a little bit of a dig because she records everything.
Yeah,
Love you, Fooz. But and the reason why she made the channel was just to record these sessions. We did the same thing with some of our gaming, a lot of our gaming sessions. We have them recorded just for the laughs and stuff, and to go back and see. And with D&D, there's more of a need for it because if you forgot, or you're just like, oh, it's been 8 weeks. What did we do?
Dude, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And your notes are only so good, right? So, yeah, she started like that, and then one day she accidentally broadcast, and that kind of raised the question, like, why should we do it?
No, dude.
Why not? That kind of thing. And that's how Fuzco was more or less born. It's probably the Cliff Notes version. Fuz probably has more.
No, man, listen, that is
details,
succinct and cutting. And I think paints Fooz favorably. Whether or not that's, I mean, it is deserved in general. In this story, maybe questionable. No, but I love the idea that she was like, hey, I love recording some of this stuff. I know she recorded some of y'all's home games, right? And then,
yes,
and then that exactly, Insomnia, the accidental live button smash. That is my fear to the maximum. You know what I mean? Like Nenners and I are on for 5:10 before, just kind of chopping it up, and we do a sound check, which is just me recording in OBS, right? And every single time I do that, Nenners, I get a teensy butterfly of panic right here in the fourth chakra. It's just like, because of that, because I'm like, oh man, like I don't want to fat finger it. I don't want to slip. But
they won't know about our plans for world domination, so don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already in motion. There's only so much they can do.
It's important to have the offline huddle. Agreed. Right. But for y'all, the going live was actually massively successful and sort of an impetus in leading to these actual plays. So I just love that.
Yeah, no, I mean, if nothing else, the people we've met along the way have been more than worth whatever headache she has to go through. I will give her a lot of credit. She does she TMs and does that at the same time. So props to her. I talk a lot of shit about her, but she
runs the ship.
She's really incredible when it comes to multitasking, and I don't say it probably ever because I'm worried she'd get a big head, but I am grateful for all that she does there. So take that for you. That's the last nice thing I'm saying for you,
dude. Listen, it better not be. No, that's so true though. Y'all's are such a yin yang, such a beautiful tandem. Like even the fact that y'all alternate DMing on, granted separate campaigns, legacy and difficult terrain, but even that to me just shows an incredible level of communication, right, and trust, and wanting to hang. Insomnia, appreciate you coming through, my man, or my lady, or you let me know. I do not mean to mislabel in any capacity, but I appreciate you stopping by and supporting us. Kits, I would say I am deeply fond of necromancy. Yes, feel free to educate us on that. No, but y'all really are a great team, Nenners. I'd love to know though, before we talk about some of these actual plays and talk about the art of DMing and how you approach it, how you bring it to life, which I love. I'd love to know more about the previous editions of D&D or tabletop, because I didn't really play those, but I've found them whenever I've read old campaign books or seen old spells to be really, really cool. So I'm just curious, like how long you played it and how it compares to 5e.
Allow me to tell you a story of the dark times and Thaco.
Please do.
Yeah. 2e was honestly really fun. I was super young. I mean, like 10, 11 maybe, when my uncle started getting me into it.
Dude, that's right.
Yeah, it was absolutely wild. And I mean, one of the first things we did was we played Planescape. I was a wizard with D4 hit points.
Dude.
And back then you couldn't choose your spells at level 1. So I got color spray and I'm running around Sigil. It was horrifying.
Dude,
but
that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why could you only get one spell? Was that how was that rules as written?
That's how my uncle was ruling it. So
cool.
I mean, at 11, I was like, okay.
No, that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a cantrip or two or something like that, but it was basically it was fun though. I mean, it was definitely like playing a game where like, oh, you didn't have obviously we're gamers, so like not having a video screen or not having like some visual aid, like using your imagination at that age was just was wild. And
dude, yeah,
it was super fun. We were hooked, and as soon as we got into it, and it was just like we started getting the books as kids, and then dragged my siblings and friends into it. Some of my friends were already into it up at the high school level, but that middle school kind of situation was mostly through my uncle and that stuff. It was fun though, so we did that.
Well, let me just say real quick, and shout out to that. Same with me, Insomnia. But let me just say that real quick. already, I mean, bless your uncle for getting you guys into it, for gatewaying you. That's led to many things that we all get to enjoy and participate in. But the fact that there's one, I can't decide if I hate it or I absolutely love it. And I don't know, I'll have to sit on it. But I know that I hate the fact that the one spell you got was color spray, right? Which is essentially like, walk me back through it. It's like, it's a dexterity saving throw, and then it gives them disadvantage on attacks.
There wasn't even disadvantage in that system, so I believe it was just like a hard like minus penalty to like attacks and like general visual stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like I could cast that. God help anybody who gets close to me. I'm gonna try to whack him with my staff with my hilarious Stacko because I was a caster.
But dude, you've got 4 hit points. So it's like
4 hit points. I don't know if you remember, but in those days the classes leveled differently. So like I needed more experience to gain levels than like my brother did, who I believe was playing the fighter at the time. Yeah,
and different things could level up different classes.
Yes, yeah. So it was,
which is just crazy.
Yeah. So you were level capped. Like if you were like a certain race, you would like literally get level capped at 13, 14, whatever. Could not go higher. It was a way more rigid system back then. I think
that's wild.
5e, one of the greatest strength that they've brought to the table is just how the like rule of cruel. You know, you can flavor anything to be anything, and that really kind of blew the doors off of, you know, I think a lot of the, I don't want to say gatekeeping, but kind of the restrictive nature of the older editions.
Man, yes, completely cosign. And that was one of the first things I thought when you said that is, can you imagine 3rd edition in the age of Twitter, you know, or in the age of the whip reaction? And just also shout out to Evie. That's hilarious. I'm just a dude sitting with another dude asking him to play a game. Would you like to play a game? No, but for real, like I feel like people going from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons to 3rd edition, or honestly probably every iteration, there's been tons of pushback, but that's just funny to think about. I've never played under that system. Okay, so you've got this long history, you've got a deep understanding. You talk about, you know, one of your first characters being a wizard. You know, play a wizard on difficult terrain. Is it? I think of you as a wizard. Is that accurate? Like, you know, like, do you feel that way?
I mean, all right. So like, I would make the slight argument that technology is basically magic to those who don't understand it. And I am deeply embedded in technology as a career and lifestyle to a degree. So I can sympathize with that for sure. I do favor sorcerers over wizards.
Got you.
Just because I love the idea of like twisting the magic, you know what I mean? It's like your expertise isn't in necessarily the knowledge, it's in the manipulation. And I really, as a modaholic, sorcerers speak to me.
That is such a great, it is not in the mastery, it's in the manipulation. That's so good. I like to encapsulate some of the interviews, and sometimes for me to remember, I have to do it live. So forgive me, your comment. Your comment stunned me, but noted. Sorcerer Nenners, very well. Yeah. But dude, that's so great. So, you know, do you think of yourself as more of a PC or more of a DM? And yo, Vago, what's up?
Vago, what's up?
Get in here, dude.
I love playing in a good campaign. I mean, I deeply enjoy playing. What's it called? Malin, and I'm very thankful for Fooz for giving me that opportunity. I will say I do enjoy DM probably a little bit better, only because I get to make all these cool ideas and like that's if you had the misfortune of having me in your game, when you tell me to give you 1 character sheet, I give you 5. So I'm just like, oh, this is a cool character, that's a cool character, and like I have no stop button to this train of like characters or whatever. So I get to take that and be like, that would be a cool NPC, this would be neat to fight, this is a cool mechanic, I want to test out how this would work. So I can just throw all that into my campaign and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't overwhelm the DM or like, oh, I only get to play this 1 character or whatever. So I do enjoy that. Also, I try to I don't want to say expose, but like I like the the storytelling element of DMing that you don't necessarily always get with. You are a part of the story, of course, as a player, but the DM is certainly the one who's like holding the canvas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I enjoy that from a DM perspective. But I like them both. But like, if I was to give an edge, it would be to the DM side.
That's interesting, and I can see that. I can see that also in the way you play, right? Because these characters have such rich backstory. There's a lot of justification for the actions you take. Did you? Because I mean, clearly, like storytelling and idea generation, and putting things down is both easy for you and fun, rewarding. Have you? Did it start off as homebrew? You know what I mean? Were your first campaigns loosely from an adventure book, or I'm more just curious, like if you have experience with modules, or if it's mostly been homebrew, or kind of, what the vibe is. And yo, Cizo, welcome, first timer. Doth I spy a cat? Welcome. We're chilling with Nenners. I'm Carpe the DM. This is between two DMs. But I'm curious, man. Like, did it begin with homebrew, or was it modules, or?
It started with modules to get, because I mean, homebrew at that level, and I don't know if I had the mental acuity to like build out a whole world and all this stuff, and have and also you got to remember, this is like my preteen family and teenage, mostly boys, friends. So the attention span is not all that high, right? And even if I had it, how much are they really gonna like land, right? Mm-hmm. So it was largely we played with my friends, mostly Dark Sun. We played a little bit of Birthright with my brother, and
are those adventure settings?
Yeah, they were campaign settings in 2E.
And dude, shout out to Fusca's husband, Seize up, let's go, bugles up. Yep. I apologize for asking a question and then immediately interrupting.
No, you're good. You're good.
But those were campaign settings for third edition.
Birthright was this second edition.
Second edition, okay.
Dark Sun was second edition. Same with Birthright. Birthright was really cool. It had like this whole like bloodline system, and you can like steal people's powers, and it was like this. It was crazy.
Damn.
We played Red Steel too, I think, at some point for a bit. But yeah, it was.
I've literally never heard of any of those three, and I'm kind of blown away because I've done some deep. I thought deep, clearly quite shallow, but dives just into campaign books. So out of those three, like what would you say was your favorite? Because
Dark Sun by a country mile. The Birthright was cool, but Dark Sun is like this stone and sorcery borderline, like Conan kind of situation. There's magic is dangerous and extremely rare. There's like no metal on the planet. You're burning to death out there, and there's an element of survival. It's like, it was so bad that in the game it was like you have to start at third level because you will not survive at first and second. Like they're like, start at third, and that was rare for like a module to say that. It was like start from 1 or whatever, but for like starting out, it was like start from third or you will die.
Dude.
And you were probably gonna die anyway. But I loved psionics and like the cool things you could do. The idea of like no pantheon, all the gods abandoned this world. It's just elementals.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
that's a little problematic. So
yeah.
Is it set like in a version of the material plane? It's
okay. Yeah. All right. It's kind of gross.
Break us off.
Imagine if you had a cyst between like the phlogiston and like the prime material plane. That's where Athos is. It's basically untouchable outside of like really extreme measures.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. A cyst. That's so visceral, and I can see that. Okay, so it's squished, painfully squished. That's hilarious. I love that Insomnia is familiar with it. So I've run some 5th edition modules. I've looked and stolen from numerous 3rd edition modules.
Oh yeah.
And was it in the 3rd edition ones, there are some, kind of campaign arcs-ish. They have a couple one-offs, but they haven't been like the adventure books that I have seen. The Curse of Strahd, the Dragon of Ispar Peak, the Princes of the Apocalypse, the what have yous of 5th E, where they're kind of like, this is phase 1, you go here for level 2. Is that how Dark Sun is?
Dark Sun actually was a little bit more linear.
Okay.
At least getting up to a certain point. Spoilers for a 30-year-old game, I guess.
You're clear.
So if you start with like the modules, you start as like literally a slave or somebody who got enslaved like right off the bat, and like, there's this gladiatorial arena thing
by
going
an
on.
elemental power, or by like another humanoid.
So in this lovely dystopian Conan situation, there's city-states, which are kind of like the last bastions of civilization, if you will. And they're ruled by these ultra-powerful sorcerer kings that are psionic wizards or defilers. There's a whole bunch of that. I'll skip some of the fluff for it. No. But basically, they're so powerful, they can grant spells to Templars who act as their like clergy. And slavery, unfortunately, is a huge part of that setting. Most of the time for gladiatorial elements, and that's kind of where the PCs get thrown in. And there's some leeway in terms of where they go, But
so you're starting out like under the pit,
as
like
low as
the sweat, the blood, the dung.
Yeah, and it's like, what is it? It gets like 140 degrees Fahrenheit. On the planet, so you're fighting in the, oh my god, it's crazy. So
well, just real quick, my partner had never seen Gladiator, which I was like, nice. Like bitch, like, I mean, it's one thing where I was like, what the fuck? And so we watched it 5-6 weeks ago, something like that, and man, oh man, it just took me back. I was like, this was like just a fun movie, like captures so many things, but really evokes so much D&D imagery, and that's just where I am right now. I can't believe that's where you start in Dark Sun.
You start in that.
That's crazy.
It's incredible. And there's this huge plot that's going on, and basically the Sorcerer King is trying to kill everybody so he can like level up essentially to ascend to like a different kind of form. There's a subplot there that like his own people are like, I don't know if you're aware, but like in Rome, the Praetorians killed more of their protectees than they actually protected. So there's an element of that happening too. Yeah. Well, a good chunk of emperors were got by their protectors. But anyway.
Makes sense, right? I mean, they're like so close.
Yeah, they have the access. Yeah. If you're doing some crazy shit, well, you're probably going to get shanked. But yeah, so there's a long story short, but basically the Sorcerer King gets killed by some like high level kind of NPCs that you end up getting like attached to and can either assist as they go on to like try to take down some of the overall slave structure and stuff. It eventually becomes the free city of Tyr, and you have some adventures that come along with that, and some of like the ancillary characters that like are around this major event. It from there it just kind of goes up, and what you've done kind of reflects on like the world. So I would say it's more linear than the other ones were.
That's amazing. And can I just ask real quick, is that do you remember some of the language or some of the structure with how the campaign setting book would sort of prompt a DM to shift things one way or the other depending on the party's actions? Because that to me is amazing. Like, was that written in?
They would specifically on the actions and their class, because basically the way they do magic is they rip life force out of plants, which is why the whole place is barren, because there were these massive genocidal wars. Like, there's no gnomes because they were wiped out. There's no orcs because they were wiped out. Like, it's this crazy history. It's really cool. And again, I don't want to bore you, turn this into a dark.
No.
Basically, so because of that, anyone who's casting like an arcane spell, you're basically like a Nazi. Like, they want to kill you on the spot, right? It is. So if they think if it's discovered that you can cast arcane spells, or you are a target on the battlefield, 100%.
Gotcha.
If you're a certain kind of priest, you might not be sane. Like sun priests are known for like staring at the sun and doing all kind, like just not being there cohesively, like just in quick to anger and like have these fleeting kind of emotions.
Dude, I mean, to be a priest in a world that the gods have abandoned, I mean, that's some whew. I mean, that's some Edgar Allan Poe shit right there. Okay, that is amazing. Insomnia, thank you for the ref, Baldur's Gate and Nenners' Uncle. I'll follow up on that. And that does sound insane. That sounds like so rich and so just rife with, I don't know, NPCs that have huge backstories and huge motivations. And as you know, that just builds such a fun campaign. So, and I mentioned this a little bit pre-stream to Nenners, but so much of what we're trying to do on Between Two DMs, and we get so lucky to sit down with DMs that have tons of experience across, multiple iterations, multiple platforms, is to kind of break it down for a first-timer, or sort of almost how a newbie would approach. And I'm just curious, Nenners, have you run any campaign? Well, let me first ask, have you run any campaign books for 5th edition?
No, it's been strictly homebrew coming back.
And I kind of anticipate, I'm sure at this point
Yeah.
you're like, you can gather from so many things. Because I get this frequently where a DM will drop in and maybe ask a question relative to how to execute some part of homebrew, or, would this work? What do you think, type thing. If someone is just starting out and has, an adventure guide, a reference point, or maybe they just want to bring Lord of the Rings to life, how do you set about prepping for your campaign before it starts? I'd love to just kind of hear about that process before session 0 and session 1.
Sure. So with Legacy, it's kind of cheating because the reason why it's called Legacy is it's the campaign we were running when we were kids.
Yeah, dude, that's so sick though. That's so sick.
Yeah,
that's dope.
It is fun. But I am preparing for campaign 2, which is going to be Pathfinder and different system and all that. But
can I ask real quick? And
Sure.
and please forgive me. I'm going out there. And is your uncle still with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you need to rope him back in.
Yeah.
Give him 4 hit points and 1 spell slot. Like campaign 2, you need to set up a time. Don't even tell him. Just be like, hey man, we have a Zoom, uncle. Can you make it? Because I don't know. That would just make me happy.
That'd be hilarious. No, I think he'd enjoy it. He's such a good sport. I don't even. You would just be laughing about it. I'm pretty sure.
No, of course, yeah. But you were saying Legacy 2. You're kind of starting to gear up for.
Yeah, campaign 2. It'll be. So I'm world building for that, and kind of what I like to do halvesies. So I'll take an existing world and then just build onto it, because I think it's easier for players to say, "Oh, I want to." I honestly don't have the entire time to sit down and write 5,000 years of history and geopolitical movements and things that people can pull from. So it's like, hey, you want to be from Galarian? Cool. You like necromancy? You probably want to be from the city of Geb because there's a bunch of vampires running around and there's people there and they're not actually eating each other. It's great. So I can just point them to a website, let them dig into the lore, find something that they like, and then bring it back and be like, okay, cool. We can take that history, and I can even pull things from that history. So it's like, how well did you do your history, right? Do you know who your king is? Do you know who whatever is? And it's so much easier for me to weave stuff in. So I appreciate that, but from a perspective, I like to have kind of okay, here's the arc, right? Here's maybe 5 or 6 NPCs that may or may not be your big bad. This is what they're trying to do. Here's their relationship with each other, and then where are these PCs going to kind of interact?
Yeah.
So it's these things are going to be set in motion, and I'm of the opinion that the enemies are always progressing their plans, unless they're schizophrenics or have some kind of issue where they can't focus on one thing, right?
They have undiagnosed ADHD. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Something is not quite clicking together, and
calm emotions. Yes.
Right. Exactly. But my idea is all right, it kind of sets the tempo. You kind of want to, and a lot of times you're not going to get everything at the one go, but I think for session 0, it's an introduction to the world, to the players, to the tiniest little sprinkle of flavor of what actually might be going on, if you look deep enough. And if they do, they're rewarded with some cool notes, and they'll come back 6 months later oh my god, we were right next to the guy the whole time, or,
that's right.
It was the barber all along, or whatever.
But wait a minute, some of these would have been handed to you. Some of these would have been notes given out from a session 0?
Yeah, in my last one, it wasn't session 0, but I did a very short, it was supposed to be a 1-shot, ended up being a 4-shot.
Like it does, like you do.
City Watch. So I wrote backstories, because it was ongoing in my Legacy campaign, but these were characters new to them, and they kind of knew what was going on overall, but there was very specific things happening in the city, and I wrote them pretty decent, hey, this is what your character has been up to, here's some NPCs that are important to them, here's who you're looking to hear from tonight, and stuff like that, and just see what happens, and there was a couple of one of the NPCs they were looking for just didn't show up at the bar that night, and that's a question. Where are they? What
that's
happened?
Great. Waiting for NPC, the classic play. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like that. I like to just give them some basic information so that there's a level of familiarity going on.
That is so
that they're
good.
Not entirely alien to the situation.
That is brilliant though. So, and I need to back that up because those were some great tips, especially for someone that's approaching it for the first time and wants to do a homebrew campaign. Yo, Frandy and friends, bugles up. I assume you're here for the prince, the Duke of Sorcery, Nenners themselves. I need to adjust that. I think I put wizard in the title. I blew it.
Oh, good. Wizard works. I'm cool with wizards.
No, for next time. For next time, I'll have it. But appreciate you coming through, Frandy. We're talking about really just sort of DMings. This is between two DMs where we interview different DMs, learn from their expertise. And Nenners does a ton of homebrew, has for a long time across multiple systems. And we're kind of talking about the early planning stages before session 0 and a session 1. And I love that idea of starting from a place that's already been established, right? Either if it's Faerun, if it's your favorite graphic novel, whatever it is, like establishing some sort of lore, some sort of geographical place, some sort of political structure or societal or whatever it would be, right? And then trying to match that with what your players are going to bring, what their backstory is, what their, character type and class are going to be. But I'm curious, man, because that's great advice. Whenever you're doing that sort of early stage, 5-6 NPCs, maybe one of them is the BBEG, right? Can you walk us through that? Can you kind of slow that down to 5 miles an hour for us, Because, I'm just really curious what that process looks like.
So, all right, so I got the BBEG, and he might not even know he's the BBEG at the point. Depends on exactly what's going on.
That's sick.
A lot of times, from a matter perspective, he's the good guy. So they might be someone who's like, all right, I'm trying to make moves out here. There's a threat these people don't see coming. I'm going to do this or whatever. So whatever plot they're doing, there's just sub-threads. Like, who are they hiring, right? What shipments are they moving? Are they doing it illegally? Is there a mining town that they're bribing people and stealing the ore from? Things like that, little like traces of what's actually happening, right? Maybe they're in a courtroom and there's some guy in that courtroom, but like a they come into an audience or
civic
whatever,
hall, yeah,
and they're trying to meet someone who's going to give them a job, and back there's somebody who's war hawking, right? No, we have to take these people on, blah blah blah. What's his deal, right? Like what does he have investments in armor and weapons? Do they hold a piece of land that he needs? Like, just give someone who's like just like a burst of color and a relatively like desaturated background that they could be like, that sticks out a little bit. It's not sharp enough to be like, that's Waldo, but it's enough that you're like, I should pay attention to that, right? Like, that's something that should stick in your head, or something that you can resurrect, like, oh, that is so-and-so, or something that doesn't entirely fit or like make sense. Not enough, again, to be like completely out of place, but just enough, almost like a cross-threaded nut, right? Like, if you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, oh wait, that's not only that.
Simple.
And like, it's simple. Look at it, and then you start to like unwind it. You're like, oh, this is worse than I thought it was. And kind of bring that whole Fooz is mad. For example, I did one in there.
Yo, get Drake off out of here, motherfucker.
They ran into a beholder who was in disguise way early in their campaign.
Oh shit, that's some heady stuff.
It is.
Pun suggested. That's some heady stuff.
They didn't realize it because he was like disguised as like an overly sized dwarf, which was kind of weird because he was hanging out with a bunch of Duergar.
It's 6 dwarves in a trench coat. Classic.
Yeah, pretty much. But there was on top of that, there was so they were running like this weapons organization. They were like creating all these magic weapons.
Cool.
There was like they were trying to like start wars and do all kind. They also had like their own kind of trade going. But if you went into that room and started piecing things together, it was like there was a bunch of weapons on the walls that were too big for dwarves. And if you're in the business of selling them, why the heck would you have them on the walls? Why is this guy so big? What you start piecing things together. And I had him be like a kind of like a telekinetic. So the idea was he was going to like Darth Vader them. Like, weapons were going to pull off the wall and hit them if they got into a fight and stuff like that.
That's
on top
so
of the beams.
fucking cool. It's so sick.
But they were being very diplomatic. I mean, I didn't expect them to fight them because he's like the leader of this whole citadel that they happen to be guested into. So I definitely didn't anticipate a fight. But leaving there, there's definitely should have been like, there's something wrong here. Revia remembered it.
That's so good.
Yeah, but like it was like, oh, that's the, because as she began to piece together, like, oh wait, there's a organization behind this that's led by beholders. This isn't the first one they saw. And again, I just love living little threads there that can be pulled on and have some meat to them if they do, but if not, it's just like, oh,
It's a seed planted. At minimum, it's a seed planted, dude. That really, and yeah, absolutely. Fooz. I mean, those are
you gotta
great
have the players
ideas.
in the room, as far as I'm concerned. Like that's what makes it a world, right? That you don't want the guy just Dr. Claw hiding behind a chair in the middle of a high tower somewhere.
You've read my campaigns, yes. No. You've read my work, I see. Cool. No. Yeah, listen. Inspector Gadget had an enormous impact on me as a child. That's why. It's a huge reference point. No, but you're right. Like you want it to, you don't want to save the reveal until the end, right? I mean, like the way the best movies were. I mean, Unusual Suspects or anything that has those breadcrumbs dropped, right? Where whether or not your party caught it or not all the way, they were there, right? And I think that there's really something to be said for that, and it gives you the ability as the DM to go back and reference something from 10 sessions ago. And even if half the party remembers it, it's gonna have an impact. That's so cool, man. So in that kind of planning, right? You're building some homebrew. Yo, Gravach, get in here, Prince. Love you, man. I hope you're still on vacation. Hope you're kicking those feet up. Hope you're killing it.
Vacay's great.
Dude, Gravach is in an area of India I've never heard of, but yeah, he's like living the life. I'm like, get it.
Nice.
Yeah, he's on vacation. But man, in that world where you're building out these NPCs, you're building out the wants and needs, right? Of the BBEG, the motivation, then maybe the actual boots on the ground of how they're making this happen, where they're getting these mineral deposits or getting the money to influence these miners or the muscle to push them out of, or whatever it is, right? How do you go about, two-part question, how do you go about connecting those 5 or 6 like NPCs? Obviously, maybe they're not all connected, but I'm curious what 1 or 2 connections looks like. And do you ever do what I have done sometimes, which is just have a big fat kind of TBD where I'm like, I know that this guy's boss is going to be from one of these towns. I'm not sure who he is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I know that I have a ton of time to figure it out, but sometimes whenever I'm world building, I'm just curious, like, to what degree, I mean, obviously, and I'm asking the question poorly, but to what degree it's fully fleshed out and those relationships are cemented, and how much is discovered through the course of the campaign, if at all?
Okay, so Fooz and I are both fans of tables, so I will make 4 or 5 different ways to like intersect with this person. So let's say the corrupt miner thing, right? So I'll roll on a table, D8 or whatever. If it's 2,
here we go. Let's go.
Let's go. The mines, and they find this guy's agent with like a copy of the deed or like fake keys, like a key press or something to get into an office, and some cryptic thieves can't something. So like they know something's up. Like one of them is corrupt. We don't know how or why. Yeah. But they're on the mission to save the blacksmith's daughter from the cave or whatever. So they'll pick that up on the way, go into the cave or the mine and do their mission, but they still come out like, what's up with this guy? What's up with this key? What's up with this? No, that's something that connects. And that's on a 2. So then like on a 4, maybe they catch the guy in the act in there, or they're still stealthing and they bump into him or something, or like they're trying to like get, the thief is trying to pick something and then like somebody moves out of the shadow. It's that guy. Or it's maybe him and his friends, and they've stolen what they're supposed to steal, and they're drinking, and they catch them outside. They came in late, let's just say, like a day late or something like that, and they stole the deed, and they're wheeling out like trucks out the back of mine. I don't know.
They've got a fire line. They're just moving it.
There's something. They catch him in the act, like something shady's going on. Now that's going to be a combat situation, right? Because they probably don't want them to leave or tell, or very, very high DC, like deception or something, where they're like, oh, we're working with your boss,
DC 20,
just help with these ingots.
But wait, just so I fully understand it, in that scenario, are you yourself as the DM almost building yourself a plot table, as it were?
Yes.
That's so rad, dude. That's so rad, because I do that pretty frequently with like binary situations, but the idea of even just in the world of your campaign, examining what 8 different realities would look like is an exercise unto itself, but I think gives you such a feel for how things would break one way or the other. You talk about your party coming in and visiting this hidden beholder. and the idea that you were going to treat this sort of almost like this psi attack and pull the weapons off the wall. That's such a beautiful card to have up your sleeve, right?
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily happen, but your understanding of the world enables you to spool that thread out one direction or the other. I love mentioning One Direction. No, that's so rad, man. Well, and we'll do more proper plugs at the end. I mean, y'all run some great campaigns. It really, and I said it maybe off stream, I don't know, but seeing how you play, the storyteller comes through. Like, it's very, very clear that you have a deep understanding of why your characters are doing what they do. Just because I like asking it, and again, more for people that are newer DMs. How do you? I know you play with a lot of close family and friends. How do you go about session zeros? Like, how do you approach the character building session?
So this last, I think the last one we had was for the other one on my side. So for the main campaign, we really didn't have one. We had our main guys, and I'm just roping in my friends as we go.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, we have XYZ. You can play whatever you want. I think one thing that I kind of pride myself on is like I want everyone to play whatever they want to play, and I'll bend over backwards to make sure you play an archetype or something that you want to try out. I'm a fan of Rule of Cool and stuff like that. But if it's a session zero, it's pretty much just almost as it's relatively plain Jane for how we roll. It's just have hey, we'll meet on Sunday. Everyone come in. What do you guys want to play? What are you looking at? They start talking like, oh, I'm thinking about a barbarian. I'll give them the setting, of course, right? It's like my next one is going to be very seafaring. So I'm like, guys, make sure you know how to swim, or you're okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a real good chance at some point you're going to get launched in the ocean. So
yeah,
I mean, if there's anything pertinent like that, I'll let them know, and then just let them build their characters. And I think one of our strengths as being gamers is we're very good at picking like practical roles, right?
Got you. We understand utility.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like unless it's a joke, like with Foozy's like, oh, we're gonna just play all barbarians. There's typically like an innate balance that will occur, right? And some of us prefer certain things. Like Maya will always play some kind of caster, right? Like I don't think she's ever gonna play like a full martial character ever. It's just not in her blood. It's not going to happen. That's who she is. The caster could be support or damage or both.
Sure.
But that's, I know what she's bringing to the table.
And it's color spray, baby. That's prep.
Yeah, it's color spray. It's level 1 color spray. Here we go.
I just have to say, like, I love, truly, Vogel's Insomnia, I love you guys co-signing, but then seeing Fuzka and Kits at the same time be like, yes, Nenners does that really well. Like, the feeling of your players knowing that they can tell their story, right? That they can bring their 100%. Vision of the PC is so pivotal, because that's like what brings people back. That's what brings me back often. It's not just that, but you want to shape something that you feel connected with, that you have a reason for. And if it is seafaring, might I suggest, you guys know what I'm going to say, the turtle. Come on. Come on. As if I need
turtles. Let's go.
I'm a massive fan as well, brother. They can hold their breath for an hour.
Yeah.
Come on.
They're buoyant.
Exactly. They just flip up.
Like a buoy.
Yeah. Yo, Cthulhu X, what a great name. Thank you for coming through. That's so great. Yeah, agreed.
I do have a turtle. That's true. I have a peace domain turtle in Flanders campaign. Very, very interesting. I love turtles, dude. Characters. Yeah, they're great. He's very slow.
I'm a big Michelangelo guy. Clearly, he's the party dude, obviously. But no, like I'm playing a turtle rogue right now in Curse of Strahd, and
how does that look?
Dude, it's fucking nasty. Soulblade rogue.
Oh, all right, Psionics, let's go.
Yeah, I didn't dump strength, so it's sort of strength dex. He's sort of like just a big burly boy that's kind of like an offensive lineman, very flexible.
Yep.
And man, it's been super fun. But this has been the most interesting thing, and it really has challenged me. And the DM is a dear friend of mine, so he's sort of maybe gently trolling me throughout this entire process. But everyone in Barovia is at minimum standoffish, and at maximum upset and violently confused to see a turtle in the world of Barovia. And I'm always like, all right, guys, listen, you've seen turtles. I'm friendly as fuck, My resting charisma is like 14. What's up?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man. So
They probably think you're like a Weretortles or something, though, right? Because any kind of like anthropomorphized creature, I would in Barovia, I would just assume you're a lycanthrope of some horrible kind, and you're gonna bite my head off, and I'm not looking.
Yes, Tarragon has gotten that enough times that is now becoming his understanding as well. It's like clearly at some point in time, a turtle was bitten by a vampire and haunted some area of the land because there's a ton of blowback. There's too much blowback. Oh my gosh, guys! I appreciate y'all hollering at us. Frandy as well. That's so great. A middle-aged enchanted turtle monk. Ooh, turtle monks would be a great idea.
Right? Cizo played one.
Yeah. And yes, Vogel, it is Tarragon. He comes from a family where all 4 of his siblings are essentially named for spell components. His father was a wizard. And he wanted to be a wizard, but instead he was taught how to open safes and spy on people. And he's obsessed with magic, but he has none of it. Okay. But I don't want to get us off because Nenners, you truly are you're rocking me, man. Because I must confess, I've seen you DM and it's fabulous, but I've seen so much more of you as a player just by virtue of honestly like my schedule of when I'm able to hop on Twitch as a viewer, and these are incredible, top shelf, both breakdowns and ideas, man. Like, I mean, it's just very clear that you have an understanding of both the world you want to operate in and how that world itself operates. I just love that. Would you say
homebrew?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, the strength is that I get to decide what it is. Do you normally, man, like when you're doing, let's say you're 15, 20 sessions in, right? And everybody's kind of getting their feet under them and there's some good momentum going. And whenever you're moving, well, could you just break down what your kind of prep process looks like? Is it the day of? Is it the week? Is it immediately after the session ends, like that next day? Like, how do you normally go about getting ready for a homebrew sesh?
So I try to. So my players are the definition of chaos. And let me tell you,
that's so good.
Having a good chunk of this campaign being water deep was, oh man.
Oh wow! So they have access to shenanigans.
Yeah, I had to get the districts down. I had to get like 4 or 5 different maps. I had to figure out what stores were where, what were like, and I implanted like 4 different noble houses, so I had to deal with how they would interact, what academies were around, and it was a lot. I guess it depends first and foremost what is within reach of the players. So are they in a small town? Who's the blacksmith? Who's selling the potions? Who's the guard captain? Who are like the need to knows?
Kind of the pragmatic NPCs, right? Of that section.
Exactly. Anybody who would be a potential threat or something, have them built out, have their stat sheets available. Any kind of monsters or like it just kind of just locally get. I'm so happy no one's spamming teleport in my campaign because that would be a nightmare. But
that is so good.
I try to just get the localization down. Now you're not going to get everyone. I say get the main group in terms of like shopkeepers, guards, stuff like that. Not all guards, obviously, but have an idea. And I like to have like a name sheet, like a random like first name, last name, maybe like a moniker or some kind of sobriquet, if you will, and just create NPCs on the fly. Because
that's a great bit of advice, just in case, because you don't know where they're going to go. One
of the guys is going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to talk to the popper on the street. Hey, man, what's your name? How you been?" And you're just like, he's
okay, why
ugly fish."
Dude, the fact that you say popper, like, how did I know you're going to say popper? Anytime you mention like a street rat or an urchin, right, or someone that's just sort of down there, it's a beeline, because it's sort of like these people typically are rad, and they want to chop it up. And they have access to stuff. You know what I mean? Okay.
100%. But it's not something like as a DM, you're like, oh, let me build out this homeless
community. For sure. I mean, we've seen Oliver Twist, but we're not building out London. No.
I mean, it could make it cool. You could make it like the Morlocks and X-Men and stuff and have them hiding out in the sewers and have their own communities. I mean, that's awesome. But that's so far beyond like what you would normally have to do.
But having that side sheet, right, just in case 100%. Stuff does pop up, that way you not only have it, but you, the DM, are able to come back to that, right? Like, who and what. If they wandered off and they wanted to talk to the 5th guard, you're like, okay, great. And now you need another name. It's just nice to have that. That's a great bit of advice. So yeah, man, I didn't mean to interrupt. So you're looking at the session, you're looking at maybe what's going to happen locally for the party, relevant NPCs. Are you the type of guy, like, are you writing out dialogue? Are you writing out like one-liners or blurbs, or?
The only time I write out dialogue is if there's going to be kind of one-way communication. And what I mean by that is they're fighting a very powerful sorcerer king who has psionics. So I've got lines of dialogue.
The Dark Sun.
Where he's going to be antagonising them, right? Like, oh, I know,
Dude, can we just get some of that? You still have that up in the old noodle?
Oh God, I didn't have it written down somewhere.
Let's go. We'll pause. We'll pause, and I'll just roll back through chat because this is killing me. I love how Vogel immediately is like, City Watch, rise up.
Yeah,
but dude, I didn't know Frandy played with you. So ask him about the time he rolled.
He's my other brother.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I mean, not blood-wise, but by deed.
Okay, got it, by deed. Sometimes even
though.
Deeper. No, for sure. Got you. Well, no, ask the
see.
time when he rolled a nat 1 on his own events table. Interested. Okay. Yeah, no, yeah.
All right, so Waterdeep, we had one of an NPC from my brother's campaign. I dragged like his backstory into mine and made him like a noble house.
Love it.
So,
and was your brother also playing in this campaigin?
He was.
Cool.
And
Love it.
They're called the Gelatinis, and they're a changeling group that worships, is associated with slime and like shafts, and like when they go to die, they give themselves to this kind of ooze creature, which kind of immortalizes them. They lose their form, but they have like jars of their ancestors, and they can like talk to them and do all kinds of stuff. So it's really crazy. And their business is jam and jelly and stuff like that.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah, themed. But that's been like their solid ground in this campaign the whole time. When they go to the Gelatini Manor, they're safe. They're a long storied line of nobles. It's a very powerful organization for good. So they're more or less safe. But I rolled a natural 1 on this table, and one of the subplots I had was one of their ancient enemies was kind of coming after them, and the main bad was also assisting them. So with the Hand of Fate card,
and can I ask just real quick? I'm so sorry, but sure. This feels to me almost like they were from like the Plane of Nine Hells, or like know what I mean?
They're Fae related, yeah.
Okay.
So there was a Unseelie court that was like a threatening family to them, and they kind of more or less wiped them out with one kind of very good campaign, and they used the Hand of Fate, the card Deck of Many Things thing to reverse that. So that never happened. So they came back full strength and invaded that manor that night.
Bro, like, that is a enormous nat 1.
Yeah,
that is enormous.
Enormous that one. So instead, I wasn't anticipating, so they ended up fighting this huge. Like, it was really cool because the people they're going against was doppelgangers. So when they went upstairs, they realized like the body language was off. I think Blaney's character actually, because they have the warlock thing where they could see if you're a shape changer.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, true.
Because the thing about doppelgangers, it's their physical form, so it's not an illusion. It's physically what they've changed to, but he can see through it, and he's like, oh shit. And it's one of these like I had the artwork was just some almost alien-looking doppelganger thing, like just dark.
And just again, so I understand, the doppelgangers were from the Unseelie court, were the long enemies, right? That were now coming in and posing as these like NPCs that were forever
like helpers of the Gelatini Man.
So that's fucking sick. I love how Fooz is like, yeah, it was awful. Frandy was in there too. Okay, it took 3 sessions to fight. It's crazy. But wait a minute, this is also giving me such strong Men in Black 1 vibes. Right? Like, and I think this happened before that, but the, just where like the dude's like wearing the suit and like asking for sugar water and stuff, and he's all just like off.
Where do you keep your dead?
Exactly. He's like, I need to sugar more, right? Like, you know what I mean? But, dude, that's insane. But what a brilliant, like, good on you for like honoring that though, dude. You're like, okay. Here we go. Whoopsie. Deck of Many Things. Here we go. That's rad.
There was a little element of pressure because one of the younger version of my character, because this is at a different place, so he's a child, and his uncle was taking him to bed, and they didn't hear back from him for like 20 minutes. And I had one of their characters roll like an int check and be like, yo, it doesn't take 20 minutes to put a 10-year-old to bed. What's going on? They go upstairs and it's like this whole thing, and they don't know where the kid is. They don't know where the other guy is. It's just the assassins popping out of nowhere. They summon like a ooze demon avatar who's slamming people. It was good stuff.
That sounds so great and so unexpected, but at the same time, just what you needed.
Yeah.
So, dude,
it's also I'm a horrible roller, so they're like, "Why did you even roll? You knew what you were gonna get."
Listen, that's. I mean, it helps them out during combat, but then they have to suffer through when you're rolling ones on the event table, right? That's the balance. Oh my goodness!
I'll never make a save, but you're gonna get nothing but terrible encounters.
It's like, yo, if I roll beneath a 5, you're fucked. Dude, that's amazing. So I had kind of derailed this, but we were talking about, session prep a little bit, and I asked you, are you the type to write dialogue? And you essentially were like, well, sometimes if it's a big one. And truly, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you have access to this dialogue, especially if it's from Dark Sun, because I'm going to have to go and see if I can find a copy on eBay.
Dark Sun is amazing.
I love stealing from cool stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. God, what was some of the...
In truly, like, I mean, just check it out, because I, in my prep, and maybe it's the actor, like the writer in me, I of course want to get down the basic kind of plot points, get down a feeling for the geography or what's going to happen on that session, what I anticipate. But some of the most fun for me is trying to find ways to, find a character's voice, yes, but also succinctly in their voice speak to the plot points I'm trying to nudge, right? And sometimes it's more efficient for me to jot that down, to have that ready to go. So that's really kind of the main reason I asked that.
I had it, but they're kind of at a point where they're not... hold on, let me see.
Because just the idea of some dude that is like the fallen warlord, right? He's ripped all the magic from all the plants. You know what I'm saying? Yo, balls, get in here. When doing your DM prep work, do you ever get emotional over something you've planned? I'd say so. I'd say yeah. No, did you find it, Nenners?
I found some for Tabra, but not for Dragoth. Tabra was a big bad for them too. But it was more like the emotional bad, because he was an Elithalich, and funny thing, they did betray him like right off the bat. So like it was a monster of their own making.
They betrayed Tabra.
Yeah,
got you. Well, that's like, gonna with someone with as sharp a memory as you, you're gonna fucking pay for that.
they were like, it's on, and he's like a real SOB. Like he's going after your family. He's going after anything you cared about. He was like super powerful. Yeah. So when he was going after you, he was coming. He was coming. He was coming for you. He was taking names. I had it and I closed it. Hold on.
No. Take your time with it. And truly, guys, I appreciate all the questions. Appreciate all the support. Balls Too Wild. Good seeing you, man. Appreciate you rolling through. I would say whenever I'm doing DM prep work, do I ever get emotional over something you have planned? I do like to work in some moments where they come across characters that are, gutted from loss, maybe in that sort of tightened throat and, sort of struggling to kind of even speak. But in terms of, do I get emotional, like with excitement or kind of the actual prep? I would say honestly still yes, because sometimes I'm just chilling at 11 a.m. or p.m., like getting zooted. And I'm sort of like, man, I can't wait for them to make it to the bottom of this sewer and see why this dude has been going back in time and just get a feel, it's going to be rewarding as someone that's seen it kind of weave. So I'd say yes on both accounts. And just because since we're briefly stopped and we talked about this a little bit, Nenners, one of the easiest ways to think about like getting vocally like emotional and even really honestly trying to move yourself towards maybe a place of more emotionally breaking down is to really think about limiting your breath. Like thinking about someone like choking your esophagus is actually not that far removed from the feeling of crying. And it's kind of what our body does whenever we're dealing with that, is that that sort of stiffness. So anyway, that sometimes can be a nice prep thing, because that's some of my most satisfying, man. Like, I like to DM from a actor standpoint. I mean, it's sort of like the main itch I get to scratch, and So sometimes I just like to lean into it. But anyway, I digress. Were you able to find the dialogue? Where are we?
I found some. Just to kind of like one-liners.
Dude, just hit us with a couple one-liners, man. Please.
They found this is an NPC who was like basically brain dead, and his line to the player, I think it was to Roland, was, "One too many mind blasts, I'm afraid." In my minion's defense, he was quite stubborn though, and basically he's like a vegetable, like just had his brains blasted out.
Yeah, and he's in the room with them, presumably.
No, this is like he's psionically like taunting them. He knows where they are, and it's just dropping bombs on them. Who will protect your precious village now that you're gone? That was to his friend Katasu. Oh man, that was fun. I had him coordinate an attack against his village while they were fighting him, like with a different. He basically lied to the Githyanki saying there was a stolen sword there, and was able to kind of like magically mimic like a silvery blade to draw them in. So they were burning this guy's village. He intentionally banishes him mid-fight, so he goes back to his home village, sees it on fire.
Mid-fight, like in initiative.
Trying to figure out what's going on, and then gets bumped back. He dropped the spell. So like, yeah, you're fighting for your life, but you know your home is in flames. This is the kind of SOB he was.
Yeah, dude, that is a great way to encapsulate him. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, so he has a bunch of. I gotta find the more Dragoth ones because he's more of a tempter than like a douche. I'll find it somewhere.
But that answers the question so well, and I mean I think I'm sure that makes combat easier, right? Because then you're able to drop in these like evocative, exactly these dark, moody, succinct little cuts, you know? And I don't know, anytime I'm in combat, either as a DM or a PC, and the story is also being furthered in a dramatic way, that's just the chef's kiss. Like I think that is really where D&D as a medium is in ways at its strongest. Evie, I don't know if you're still here, but truly I love you, girl. Get out of here. Cannot wait. Dude, yeah, remind me to shout out Evie.
Will do.
She's great in an awesome actual play that I think this is their second or third episode.
Oh shit, nice.
Yeah, she's run several, but she is starting up this. You know what? I'm confusing it. No, Fog has been running for. This is like the 30th episode. I'm way wrong. But she's an amazing DM. Break legs, go get him. Nenners, that's amazing though, man. Like I feel. I mean, of course, I'm like itching to play in one of your campaigns. Let's just get it out there. I think that's apparent, but it's clear that you just like love it and are great at it.
Yeah, you just got a spot. Campaign too. Well, let me know.
Dude,
looks like we can
okay. I will be in your Discord. But I'm curious down those same lines, man. Like, are you like that ability to gather and build? You know, it seems almost like a superpower of yours. I mean, you can really understand your world so deeply, and so it's the intricacies, like the nuance of it, how to represent that to your characters. Can you think of more things? I mean, that are kind of in your toolbox, so to speak. And I don't mean to like make you humble brag, but I more mean like you really are a great DM, and I'm just curious how, you know, some shortcuts you've kind of come across or stuff that you have found helpful. You know, the only one I have is to pretend like an invisible ghost is choking your esophagus if you want to sound emotional. That's my one tip.
That is awesome. For world building, I kind of think of it like a FBI like board, right? Where you're like, okay, that's the boss, these are the capos, like draw out the relationships with these people, with, you know, whatever their motivations are. How do they intersect? How are they kind of not doing whatever? Is one of them a double agent or whatever? If you map out your kind of, not necessarily the plot lines, but the NPCs within the plots, you get a much better understanding of what they're gonna do, where they're gonna be, what kind of side missions you can do that deal with them. Like they ended up allying with an Umber Hulk because they were importing these kind of its children, or like just Umber Hulks in general, into the city to do horrible things to them and experiment or whatever. So they were able to communicate with one, and like it ended up like tunneling into the thing, and so like but that only happens because you're able to like, okay, what are they doing, right? They're trying to create some kind of mutant or something as a weapon. How are they doing that? They're getting these monsters. What kind of monster are they looking at? And then you just start asking those questions, start mapping this out, and then you get all these plot points will just end up writing themselves the further you go, because you keep asking, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Where are they getting it from? You ask those questions with your NPCs, and it just starts branching out. But by the time you're done, you already have like a side mission or a one-shot worth of stuff.
Man,
just from
you're right.
One event.
You're right, and I mean really. You encapsulated it so well, because it is that why, okay, then where, okay, that the how, and then just doing that again and again shows you how this world came to be that you're playing with. Completely agree. Nenners, we're ready for you to reboot the Forensic Files. It's like, I'm here to say that he was never seen again. No, man, that's a great way to do it. I mean, yeah, and even if you're doing that with dialogue, yes, but you can pull that in for a larger plot points for why the BBEG is doing certain things or how they got to a certain point, right? I mean, I feel like that applies across a lot of different areas of prepping and of just DMing, period.
Yep. It's for sure. And then the better part about it is it makes your world cohesive from a player standpoint, because as they begin to unravel, oh, this is where he gets this. This is what's getting in. Oh, that's why they're doing this. And then they begin to make those connections on their own. And then at the end, they're like, okay, we know why you're here. We understand where you came from. And in some cases, they can start cutting off these plot points before they even get to there, because they're already on to the motivation or the method or the means. So
that is so well put, man. Okay, I have so many questions. But Balls, this is a great one. Nenners, he's curious. Are there any class types that you as a DM find harder to DM than others? It's a great question.
Oh boy, bards for me.
Really?
I hate bards.
Now, is that because they're trying to fuck everything, or because of the spells they use, or how does that?
I've had a few hornballs in my group of friends, so I can tolerate that. My beef with bards is their proficiency in magic for basically strumming an instrument. That drives me nuts. You can have someone like Ilminster, I've studied for hundreds of years, and this dude's just rocking out at a concert, casting counterspell at level 9. You're like, what? Bro. How? I have such a hard time registering that class balance, and that drives me nuts. Also, I don't have a musical bone in my body, so if I ever had to sing or I don't have that talent. I can't just sing in a way that doesn't offend people
no,
or anything to that degree. So I think bards 100% would be my big one.
And again, just because that's a great answer, I'm with that. In most of that comes from grounding that in your worlds, right? Grounding that in the campaign, sort of understanding how this motherfucking fife, is spitting out lightning bolts. Okay. Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah. I have a bard in my campaign. He's a bullywug.
Wait, what is that? What's a bullywug?
It's like a frog. It's usually an evil swamp-dwelling frog humanoid.
Okay, I got you.
And his name is Belisarius Hopperton, and he has concerts and stuff. And if I had any level of talent, I'd actually sing them. But it's just,
dude, I don't buy that. But
he's.
And by the way, I am adding that question to my template. Balls, I love that. Love that question, and I'm stealing it.
Whether a class is hard to DM for. Oh, to DM for.
Right. Oh, I thought that's what you were answering. Were you talking about playing?
Oh, yeah, I was talking about playing. To DM for.
Oh, got it.
Class that's hard. Hard. I mean, they're all.
For me, and maybe just to give you 2 seconds to think about it, it is head and shoulders rogues. Not even close. And maybe that's just the players that have played rogues at my table. But I find that things like surprise rounds are not necessarily hard to adjudicate, but hard to keep consistent and precise because of the things that would lead to someone having surprise or not, the relative application of an NPC's passive perception and the way that it would impact, surprise, etc. But even just basic shit like bonus action hiding, trying to find a way to realistically be like, okay, cool, well, there's, you're in a room with 2 chairs and a table. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really know what to say. You can try to get out of his sight lines. That might disorient him, you know? But I would say for me, it's been rogues. But do you feel like
Artificer?
Really?
I haven't had to deal with, but they are. The rule set is so wonky, and it's not intuitive. It's a cool class. I love it, but like the difference between a battle master and an alchemist are gross. And then if they're clever and they're using their infusions correctly, they can definitely do some crazy stuff.
The infusions are wild.
Yeah,
they really are.
So I would say just a level of like mechanical. You have to be. That would be a class I'd have to like work with the player and understand what they can do and what their intentions are, and just keep on par with them in terms of like their growing power scale, because it's weird because they're like a half caster. It's like, I shouldn't really worry about them, but then they got all these like weird things going on. It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that class. I mean, just being challenging, but you're absolutely right. It's just because I built one NPC that was multi-classed with basically artifice kind of capabilities, and reading the infusions I'd never really tucked into. I have Tasha's, but I just didn't dive into it, and they're kind of borderline OP. I mean, they can really. I mean, you just have such flexibility. You can create these things. I mean, rings of spell storing, like just it's. The immediate thing that hit me was, dang, this is powerful. And then also, this could be kind of what you're saying, very hard to figure out how to justify, how to make that weave in within the world. Appreciate that question, though. That's so funny. Vogel says Nenners hasn't seen me try to play a caster. It's like, okay, it was Artificer, but now it's a simple wizard. Vogel, just over here, just begging for paper and ink. Dude, that's so good. So I man, like one of the questions that I have triple highlighted, and I love that you already answered it and actually blew it away and took it to an even more nuanced place, is do you ever roll for events off table?
Oh yeah.
In between sessions. And it sounds like a resounding yes. And it sounds like you even have situations where, well, let me then just ask, in the example of that D8, where they're arriving and it could go any number of situations, or in the example of the events roll on that Nat 1 that led to a cosmic shift in the fabric of reality, is that something that you are rolling before the session, or sometimes are you saving it for live, for the game?
I like to terrify my players sometimes, and I like to when they're chatting or doing something, I'll just roll a die.
Yeah, there you go, the pump fake.
Sometimes it's for one of these events. Sometimes it's just to freak them out. But it's a fun little effect where they're like, I don't know what's gonna happen, or what is Nenners up to now, and it's a fun thing with us. We have a very rowdy group, very antagonistic. So that's one of my ways of kind of messing with them when I can.
Oh, dude, I will quote that. Well, listen, you can be antagonistic when there is a deep level of trust, friendship, play. You know what I mean? That's how you can cap. So I hear that for what it is. That's hilarious. You see, I also like rolling off. I think it takes off table, rather. It takes, and sometimes in the middle of it, right? If they're traveling a great distance, certainly if they're teleporting. But it takes the pressure off me. It takes the blame away from the DM, right, and puts it at the true dictator, the die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is how it should be, like 100%. Oh my gosh. Get him to admit he has the darkest campaign. You're golden. I love it. See, I don't think I could, because I know Nenners, like any true BBG, sees himself as being in the right, as walking in the light, right? As simply doing what needs to be done. Exactly. So I would not even endeavor to try. But perhaps with... Oh yeah, no, sorry.
I was gonna say my BBEG is he's just trying to save his he's trying to make his world better, and he's taking it from someone who has more. Yeah,
there's cause. I hear cause there. Yeah. That's hilarious. That's a great one though, Frankie. Yeah, I don't think I can. I wouldn't try to. But with that in mind, have you ever killed a PC? Like, is that a freak? Like, like how many PCs you have on your belt?
Yet. Although I will say it's due to like Herculean efforts on their part. Flandy actually came real close. Without inspiration, he was dead to a finger of death. which would not only kill
Bro,
him,
it would have risen him up under the caster's power. Good God.
Yep. So no res possible, all that stuff. But yeah, they've done.
Yep.
I will say
Randy.
one of the benefits of playing with gamers is they really know how to like min max, and high level gameplay it's fun. But with D&D 5e, it's very like, I don't want to say crunchy, but there's so many options.
Yeah.
That you can't as a DM like factor that in. And I think another probably good
Great
reason
point.
why they're still alive is I can't roll to save my life.
Oh, dude, that's so funny.
So my guys have a hit ratio of well below what is average, and you get to a point where like I don't want to make it like a +20 to hit, because it's like, why bother even rolling?
Yeah.
But I blow saving throws. I have no business blowing. I got.
Dude, I lost concentration with a fucking storm giant the other day. +10. +10. Now, granted, was it a paladin coming in and dealing like, the DC was like 25 or something. But the point is, dude, no, you're golden.
Yeah, it's brutal sometimes, but I mean, it's not for lack of trying. I mean, our warlock in my campaign is basically the tank, and if he doesn't go down on a fight, it's impressive. Although I will say the druid Maya has gone full healer. Like, it was at first, it was like, oh, I'll heal occasionally, whatever. And it's nope, everything is healed. Like every spell she casts is full on healing. So it's not for lack of trying, and the players have adjusted. So they're doing their best to stay alive, and they make, for the most part, it's weird, they make some not great decisions going into the combat. In the combat, ace.
Got you. Yeah, the events leading to the combat, questionable. Yeah.
Yep.
His mouth is the tank. Yeah, I'm picturing this warlock. I know this warlock. Got it. No, I went to high school with this guy. Man, no, that's so funny. But you're so right. Like, in Finger of Death, I think is what sent me down this, because, and I don't know. I mean, I know a couple of my players are lurkers, which I love. I love the lurkers. Get in here, lurk, baby boy. But if you're a storm chaser, if you're playing in my Tuesday night campaign, fuck off. Because, brief pause, because they are basically moving towards an encounter that will be against a level 20 divination wizard. And he is coming to dance. They're going to be a space that's going to be treated as his lair. And so, dude, I'm looking at spells like Finger of Death.
Actions and Portent, and you could force them to fail. Oh my God, that is nasty.
So it's the Portent, exactly.
Yeah.
And listen, I wrote this guy as a divination wizard before I even understood. I didn't really know the subclass that well. Now I fucking love it. It's one of my favorite subclasses. But I just say that to say it's amazing, right? But I say that to say that I literally, we ran, we played this session Tuesday. And last night I was kind of just thinking about it. It was a really fun sesh, and I was like, man, they're going to face the BBG like a little bit sooner than I thought. But this is the situation, and they're going to have to deal with it. And I'm just curious, like, how you would approach that, because he is going to have access to Disintegrate. He's going to have access to 2 Fingers of Death if he wants. I'm planning on counterspelling every fucking whisper of a healing spell. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here with that. But I'm just curious, man, like, it's the Portent. It's the idea of disintegrating someone and forcing them to fail. That sounds
terrifying.
Bleak.
It is. And it all right. So,
and it should be, right?
It should be. My approach to BBEG is there's no training wheels are off.
Yeah.
Assuming they know they're going into it. I have 2 kind of approaches. If it's like, I don't know, they just happen to bump into each other shopping, right? Then, all right.
No, yeah. No, they know, dude. They know.
If they're knocking on the door, open it up, it's on, then there is no holds barred. There's no being nice. I'm a pretty lenient DM, especially compared to Fooz, but that leniency goes out the window. And part of me actually prepping for that is they're building up to assaulting this guy's city. And my plan is they're they're building kind of like Mass Effect. They're getting like different factions to help to get them to that point, and I'm gonna have them play those factions, those teams. So they're gonna have like a team of druids go in and maybe try to like either block the waterway or clog the sewers with alligators, whatever the heck they're trying to do. They'll do that, but then they're gonna get, you know, obviously attacked, inundated, and it's gonna be brutal. Like, you got NPCs that they love, they might die.
Yeah.
So it's like, where are you playing? You know, the city watch guys that they're playing, where are you going to put them? You're going to put them somewhere safe. You're going to have them actually be at a critical junction. Dragoff might actually come down and start killing them.
Wait a minute, I missed that. So I didn't realize that they each had a city guard that they had access to as an NPC.
Yeah.
Dude, I missed that.
What
an idea!
Playing city guards.
Now I get the city watch love. I'm so late. I'm so slow. Okay, I'm with it.
So I'm gonna paint, like, on top of the warning that I'm giving, I'm gonna show them, like I'm gonna show you how bad this is gonna get. This is not. I want them to feel the weight of this fight.
Darkest campaign.
Exactly. Not that, but yeah, I want them to feel the weight of this
Not that
combat that they're going in. When they fight Dragoff, they're gonna know the blood that he has on his hands. It might be awesome NPCs that they loved. It might not be, but at that point, it's what you signed up for, right?
Bro,
when you come into this final fight, it's like your counter spells better be used wisely. If someone's casting Disintegrate, you know, make sure they're above 80 health, or that could be the end of your boy.
I know.
Or I hope you brought a dustpan and maybe you can resurrect him. I don't know.
I mean,
but that's the stakes, and I think especially if they know you're going against a wizard.
They do. For context, just to fill you in, literally at one point last session, they sought out a guy that had fought in the same war that this wizard had served in, just to try to get a rundown on this guy's spell level, what he had access to. Now, this was like 40 years ago, so he was probably level about 12 at that point in time. But anyway, you're right. A part of it as a DM that allows you to take those enormous punches and those enormous blasts at your party with love is the fact that they know. They have been breadcrumbed, right? They have been inundated with the level of blood on this BBEG's hands, with the level of threat that they represent. At the same time, dude, like forcing someone to fail a finger of death, like I'm not that guy. I'm not a neckbeard.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy, you know? But I'm gonna be that guy for a session.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go to a dark place. It sucks, and I mean, it sucks, but it's
that's why I wanted to bring you on. I needed you to co-sign me and you know, cleanse me of my sins.
But that's what makes that, when they win, if they win, that's gonna be epic, right? Like just the level of danger that is inherent there. And it's that's gonna feel so good, because yes, we went against a divination and no, he was not pulling any punches, and yes, Bob got disintegrated within a third of his, like, got 3 hit points, or maybe he died, and maybe that's, you're gonna carry him in an urn on the way down from his temple or something. To deal with the repercussions.
Oh, dude, yes. Outsourcing my dark campaign moves to Nenners was the right move. And dude, I agree with Fooz. Like, I don't know about that. Like, it seems certain to me that someone in my party is going to die. And it's because of last night and watching it play out, and then sort of wargaming out a little bit. And again, just full disclosure, and I want your opinion on this, he will have cast Symbol. He will have cast Death within the space. They're going to be entering this temple to Bala. It's this sunken underground layer that was an ancient space and was built over. It's now kind of lost in the sewers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. But I love Symbol. And it's one of those where whenever I went on a deep dive of versions of each spell from like 1, 2nd, 3rd, right?
Yes.
Symbol has had some wild iterations. But even still in 5th edition, packs a wallop. So, you know, they're going to walk in, get symboled, get layer actioned, and then get straight stunned on by this divination wizard. It's going to be... Anyway, I'll send you screenshots.
Yeah, please do. And especially as wizards, because like the beauty and power of wizards is preparation. So if you're going into a wizard's lair, that is the most dangerous he is going to be at. He will not be any more threatening than he is in his own home with Batman prep time.
Batman prep time, exactly. I call it Kevin McAllister, but same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Same principle.
Yeah.
That's so great. Okay.
Yeah. If you want to really be bad, time stop him.
Oh, he's going to. The entire listen, and dude, just because we're rapping about it, I do a lot of Monday sessions, which is like campaign prep, where like Balls Too Wild was on my last one, for example, and they're really fun. I basically just go through the prep of walking through the beats, maybe writing some dialogue, recapping what's going to happen, right? Again, with the hope that it makes it easier for people to approach DMing or steal bits that I myself have stolen from other people or wiser DMs.
Sir.
And but a huge through line of the campaign is essentially that these ancient areas, right, that were these sort of lost build outs of the first Wood Elf peoples, have access to the stars. They were star druids, and inherent in that is like the ability to step across different points in the material plane, like i.e. time travel. And that's what drew the BBEG there. He's trying to right some wrongs, and so time and fucking with it.
As a divination wizard too, that just plays into it.
And I'm not gonna do it this, like, I'm gonna treat it as his use of his 9th level spell slot, but the time stop will almost feel like he is accessing like the astral plane. Like it's gonna be him nearing the final steps of this thing, unless they get there late and he gets to roll for it. You know what I mean? But I want to use time stop in that way because it's such a fucking hectic spell, right? And maybe I'll just, delayed fireball and fuck him up. I don't know, but you're right. Time stop is a must.
Yeah. Time stop is. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I want to watch that. That's great.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. We are recording our sessions, and I'm toying with the fact I do a lot of like before and after stuff where I'll take the Twitch prep and then cut it in with the actual gameplay, which I think is kind of fun to see how it goes from this little cute picture that then gets destroyed by my party. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'll totally circle back on that. And truly, Fooz as well. I'm gonna holler at both you guys. I would love to get involved, or even if it's like a one-off. I'm the henchman of somebody that's about to die.
We're
whatever.
The same throughput. We could definitely work together.
That's Insomnia. I would love that. Yeah. Okay, tight. So, dude, I mean, it's so funny. Normally these things go an hour, and then we do the rapid fire. We're just rolling here. But I gotta ask you just a handful more questions, and we gotta roll into this. Just because I'm really curious, like how you would approach these, because I love the way your mind works, Nenners. I feel like we view D&D in really similar ways, and it's just the Darkest campaign has moved me to my core. But I'm curious, like, you guys stream actual plays. It was fun to hear about how that journey began with a fat finger, and whenever you guys are building things up, like, have you ever brought on someone to play an NPC, for example, or play a villain in that sense? Okay, tight. Like, how did that? Like, was that successful? Was that really challenging? Like, what did that feel like?
Super challenging in terms of time. I think it would be something better in person, where I just have the guy hanging out in the back. Like, if we're on a table and I got him like making sandwiches in the back or whatever, and I'm like, all right, Bill, come in, and like
and everyone's like, oh, Bill's playing? I thought he was just making sandwiches.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's like this huge thing. But online, it's so dicey. But I did get Boggle in to play a paladin who's the matron of that house, Gelatini, who was coming down to just right wrongs pretty much, and had this crazy spirit. We had a whole document of like what she could do, what her attitude was, and I think Boggle had fun with it. I did too, but the timing was so dicey because it's like they were at a ball, you didn't know how much time they were going to take.
Yeah.
Is it going to be tonight? And then so basically she's in a holding pattern for hours. So it's so. That's the challenging part. I love having people, guest stars, come in. I would if I could do it more often, I 100% would. I kind of want to respect their time and be like, yeah, I may or may not need you for the next 3 weeks on Friday night. You know what I mean? That's a tough sell.
Oh, Vogel. I had no sleep for days. No, you're so right though. I've done it a handful of times, but you're right. The logistics of timing it remotely, whenever you have a party of wanderers, you just don't really know. You kind of got to honor that. Like, oh, Vogel, I bet you crushed that. Okay, guys, in the chat, please drop if you're a streamer.
True,
Was that the name of the PC or?
Snowfur was a no. It's oh God, what is it starts with the C. Celine, not Celine. Cecilia, that was her name.
Okay.
Snowfur, Flandy's first attempt, like. We shotgun. I feel honestly kind of bad what we did to Flandy, but he's such a good guy. He learns real quick. So we're like, all right, man, just throw him in there. So Fooz threw him in his campaign, and I think like maybe 2 weeks later, like, look, you're getting in mine. I don't have a character for you yet. You didn't have one ready yet either. So, Ravia, Fooz's character was basically fighting this demon that was hunting her at like the Hellgate, essentially.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
But because it was such a dire threat, and she was a protector of the forest was also going to protect her, so it was sent a treant,
that's
like
cool.
a really high level treant there, and was speaking in Sylvan about like how it was going to like help
and that was Flandy,
that kind of stuff. And so Flandy was that character, and he was and the reason why I gave it to him is because he was like a trickster, so he had like this kind of like Luke's irresistible dance and like all this other stuff, and he used it really. He was clutch, like he absolutely, and hopefully that helped him get into the game. But I had him as a guest star. He played the treant, and there's no way I would have played him anywhere near as well as he did because I was juggling like 15 different things. And Flandy, in truth, is a way better trickster than I'll ever be. So putting him in his hands was just perfect, and it worked out really well.
Dude, that is so funny. And this was his first time playing D&D?
In my campaign.
In your campaign, okay.
Maybe had 3 or 4 sessions.
What a hero, though.
Total.
That's a big jump to hop into an actual play. That's an enormous. I mean, kudos to you, man. Like, big. I appreciate anyone that's willing to jump that fully. But it also bespeaks a heavy trust of you, Nenners. That's really cool, man. Yeah, I recommend it really highly. I found it really fun. And just in general, guys, if you stream, please just drop that. Just be like, hand raise, asterisk. Because I want to holler at you guys. I mean, I know Fooz streams, and I mean, I'm able to follow both Nenners and Fooz's accounts, but I don't know. I would just love to connect. Sounds like you guys have a lot of fun stuff going on. Dude, okay, last one before we move in, because these are just sort of in general, just questions that I have to know. Are there any, and we've talked about some of them, but I may be more interested in like creatures or monsters as opposed to humanoid adjacent BBEGs.
Okay.
But, you know, it just makes me think of it because of like, you know, your vibe. Did you have a monster that was like one of your jump out favorites where, you know, you were excited to play it, but then whenever you finally played a Beholder, it was like, yo, this is dope. Or, you know, the Ancient Red Dragon, or like, are there a handful that have really captured your imagination?
I think from traditional D&D, I love all things aberrations. So like the dark, the far realm with like the mind flayers and like all this Cthulhu type of stuff where they mess with your head and sanity is on the table. They might eat your brains. They're gonna blow them out. Like I love that level of just like, we exist and like operate on a plane that you probably don't understand, and we don't really care. And that kind of like this eldritch kind of motivations. But I created my own race called the Klex, which was like this kind of synaptic like macroorganism where they had little organisms that would like, and I'm a big body horror sci-fi fan.
Yeah, so these were microorganisms. These were like invisible.
They're big, but they have like synaptic creatures that control them. So like, let's say one of them is getting hit a lot. The smart creature will be like, evolve armor, and like the next round they'll start growing chitin, so their AC goes up. If they're getting hit with a lot of spells, their spell DCs will go up. So now you want to kill the smart one, but now it's getting defended by the other, and they have like swarm tactics.
Damn, exactly. Brain bugs. Yeah,
and this is not gonna help the Darkest Campaign thing, but when
it's cementing it is what it's really doing. Yes.
When Fooz went to the very start of the campaign, she was being basically called to check out on one of her friends, and he had been like infested with one of these creatures, and it basically kind of skin suited him and like eventually like ripped out of him. Like she was like cutting off limbs because she had a Vorpal sword, but like let's say she cut off the front right limb, the middle leg would then transfer over to shift the weight. So it was
fuck.
And it was
that is the start of the campaign. What a tone. What a tone.
That was a tough, because I had like 4 or 5 of them in there, and it was her and her pet, and I was like, I don't know if they're gonna make it out. She played really well. I'm always played with how they play. So yeah, the Klex for me, they have different hives that specialize in different things. So one of them is more physical, one of them is more mental, the other one's more stealth, and then there's another one that's more like literal hive, like tons of bugs and different things that they do to you. It's good stuff. But
Dude,
I love.
That's sick. Can I ask? Is that yeah? And I am not an agent of the OGL leaks. I'm not working for the Wizards yet. No, but the but is that something that you have out? Like, is that in? I don't know.
I just have it all homebrewed.
Really? Because I like that.
I should probably put it to paper, but I have it in a notebook here.
Oh yeah, I just want to steal it. That's why I ask. That sounds really cool, especially the idea of, I like it whenever a group of enemies, right, when more than one are in tandem with their tactics. Like, that to me is very realistic. It is also, I think, more challenging. And it's oftentimes kind of the secret sauce of what a party of PCs has, is they're able to be like, yo, cleric, fucking hit me up, please. Or why don't you, if we bane those guys, then I'll come around and I'll cast something that they have to do a saving throw. And they're like, oh, okay. And, maybe that's a little meta, but it's realistic at the same time in terms of how a party of multiple strengths and weaknesses would work together. They would know, 100%. They might not call it spell slots, but they would know how much magic they can perform in a day, etc. But I just really enjoy that. I see that from these kind of psyoptic creatures. Also in this Tuesday campaign, the Drow are kind of being flushed up from the Underdark. Mainly just because the Plains of Hells are escaping and coming up literally through the world.
When the Drow are running for something, I love
dude, exactly.
If they're running, we're effed.
That's exactly. That is the message. That is the message. It's like, why are the deer running down the mountain? Yeah. But there are some Drow characters as written. I can't remember what campaigns. I think it's a Drow. It's maybe the Elite Warrior or the, man, I forget what it is. But this guy basically has a pole arm or like a cat of nine tails.
Talking about Uthingan from you talking about from Menzo Berenzin?
He's from Menzo Berenzin, but it wasn't a labeled character. It was an Inquisitor.
Okay.
A Drow Inquisitor. And they have this feature where they more or less can go and use a bonus action to hit with this flail that does 1d4 damage or something, but causes advantage on the next attack or saving throw of an ally. And that just to me says so much about the Drow military, how they structure it, how just sort of toxic and violent it is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. That to me, it kind of opened up, and it sounds very similar to what you've built, but yours is way more advanced. But I love stuff like that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, anytime they have enemy tactics to worry about, I think that's fun. And then, they would have some of them morphed, and they would have any kind of gross bug stuff. So one they spit this kind of epoxy on them, so they would have to try to save out of it. If they didn't, it would begin to harden.
They would grapple. Yeah.
And so they'd locked in here against melee bugs with pincers and stingers.
Oh, dude, that's so hectic. The casters get the fuck.
Yeah, get away from me, please. Oh. It was a lot of fun.
So wait, Vogel asked a great question, and I'm curious as well. Such a cool enemy, such a cool sounding beast. Was there? Of course, it comes from the Dark and Twisted Mind in its genesis. But whenever you're putting the brass tacks of a functional stat block, what does that are you? I'm just curious with the I will take something and oftentimes just reskin it. I haven't gone that advanced where that sounds like a whole new feature. The way they can, some of the mechanics of movement, it's amazing. I'm just curious, what that process kind of looked like.
So I try to keep stat blocks for custom characters close to what their CR would be. So them, it was okay, what does a Gith hunting party look like, right?
Oh, they're Gith. Ah.
Well, they're not Gith, but yeah, they're
okay.
What does a Gith hunting party look like in terms of stats, right? Because to me, that's organized, right? I got at least a leader, one Gish, a couple of skull crackers, and maybe a healer or something, right? So that the general hit points, what they can kind of do. That stuff is what I would factor in, and then I gotta mess with certain things because my party is pretty powerful given what they have. So
I know that game. You're and then I gotta punch it up a little bit because
I gotta punch it up a little bit just to make it threatening and really kind of put them in a bind. And that's really kind of
fuck. I didn't know you were 17. Dude, that's crazy. 17's intense.
It's a lot.
I've never even. I mean, my guys are the highest I've been is 14.
Yeah, 14's a lot too. It's once you get to like 7th level spells, it's it gets spicy really fast.
Yeah, no, and just because I'd sort of missed it, but when we were talking about that BBEG and this party being faced with 7th, 8th, 9th level spells, right? No one has counterspell. And I mean, like we have a cleric, we have a ton of marshals. Ranger has a bit of magic, and then we have a bard. And I thought that all bards knew counterspell, but apparently, and so I'm not sure where that is. He's never counterspelled anything, and so I don't know if it's. I need to double check that because he's a lore bard, and I know that allows them to select a handful of spells that are outside the bard list.
Yes,
but I thought bard was already included in that. Maybe he just didn't select it whenever he was picking his spells.
It's possible. I'd have to look into it. I haven't really messed with bards all too much, but I thought counterspell was default. I could be wrong.
I thought so too, but I.
That's the one that actually makes sense. Like you're trying to cast something, and some dude is just doing something horrible. Like just breaking your concentration. I could totally read that. Like that's within the lore, I think.
Dang.
Or the player fantasy of it.
Okay, thank you for that, Fooz. Amazing.
Oh yeah,
Says
thank
no.
you, Fooz.
Wow. So it is only if they are like a lore, or if they're doing, they have one of the subclass features that allows them to borrow from another class. Okay, I hooked them up with the Ring of Counterspell.
Good move.
Where they can essentially empty a spell slot through this, and it does on its own cast a 3rd level counterspell once a day. But the real trade-off was I think, are undervaluing counterspell because no one has ever seen it in play, and so they're hesitant to kind of I forget what the term is, not bond, but they already have 3 magical items.
Attune to it.
Attune, thank you so much. I don't know why I blanked on that so hard, but they're hesitant to, even though in my head I'm like, you're going to die by magic. You know what I mean? Like, take it, put it on, do it. You know what I mean? Like, but fuck, I'll direct them to this moment of the interview if they have any problems.
Sounds good. Yep.
Oh man. Well, Nenners, this
free
is
counterspell. You're really nice.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. Yeah, well, it's just because I don't want any guilt on me whenever this wizard TPKs them. Because they're coming, oh my gosh, guys, we are close to Find Your Dog Challenge. Wow.
Nice.
I cannot wait for that.
Let me ask you a question, if you
don't
mind.
Please.
If you do TPK them, are you going to have them have like a revenge squad go after the BBGs? Are you going to have like a separate squad, or is just they roll their characters 20 years later and he won, and whatever his world looks like is what it is?
Dude, that's dope. You asking me that question makes me realize that I really do want to prepare half a page of some sort of just epilogue of what the Sword Coast would look like over the next 50 years if they died here in this room, in the bottom of the sewer, right? Yeah. But I think because of the main through lines are like this wizard fucking with things, the drow coming up because of the hells, and the motivation for the drow, the hells being unleashed is this kind of like astral shifting. Like, I hesitate to say war of the gods, but there were a handful of old gods that were sort of like cast out of the pantheon, and they finally found purchase, Scaravan, Bala, Thalos, and essentially are trying to come back up. And I think if they did die, because this wizard does serve Thalos, they would pick up in the astral plane. They would pick up in this haven of the cleric's god. And I think they would then essentially have to like fight their way out, and they would come back years later, dozens, maybe decades, like some weird, time warp stuff, because I want there to be
the only safe sliver of time that you can. Yeah, that's awesome.
And they fucked it exactly. Vago, love you. Appreciate you rolling through. Yeah, exactly, dude. For the BBEG, Dark Timeline, they come back as undead minions for the BBEG. That is extremely dark. What if we sent them to hell? Yo, balls. That's a great. I need to ruminate on that. I don't think they'll be faced with him for probably 2-ish sessions, but I'm beginning to kind of obsess over it. Thank you, Fendi. I appreciate that, and appreciate all the ideas. Nenners, truly, I'm going to be blowing up your Discord just with requests and with honestly picking your brain, because I think we tackle it from the same aspect, except yours is more refined, and I really like that. So, dude, we are now going to move into what can only be described as the most exciting section of Between Two DMs. The rapid fire.
Oh boy,
The rapid fire. So,
yeah,
exactly. I love you're like, oh man. So, like, there are no wrong answers, all right? Except for one question where I think it'll be pretty obvious. But truly, I'm just curious, like, how you would approach something, early warning. Okay. I love it.
Yep.
And I want to know, just so we can kind of get to know you better, you can answer it as a DM, as a PC, whatever. Just answer it as Nenners.
Sure.
So with that in mind, I must ask, are you ready? Are you ready for the rapid fire?
As ready as I can be.
Then we shall commence. Okay. First question. When building characters, do you use standard array, point buy, 4d6 drop lowest, or 3d6?
None of them custom points, so I give people a total. Because
they have
I'm
a pool.
on team. Yeah, they have a pool to pull from, and they can put it wherever they want.
Interesting. Okay, you tried to
levels,
judo me.
20.
You tried to judo me on the first question, Nenners.
I can't roll, so I would never make somebody be bound by those rolls, because I'd be having straight 9s the whole way down.
Dude, that is so funny. Okay, so sort of like a version of point buy. I like that. That's very kind. Okay, we'll get right to the nitty gritty. Dungeons or dragons?
Dungeons.
Let's go. That is the DM answer, and it's a scary one. Okay, giants or dragons?
I'm gonna go with giants.
Ooh! That is not what I expected, but I love it. Okay, frost giant or storm giant?
God, that pulls at 2 straight.
I hoped it would. I hoped it would, my friend.
Oh, storm giants.
Storm giant,
like
okay.
Oof, barely.
Right? I know. The CR is higher. I lean Storm Giant, but something about Frost Giant seems more timeless to me. Like, ooh, shit. Okay, if you had to pick a dragon, you going copper or gold?
Gold.
Gold? Okay, that's fancy, and I like it. It's also, like, way more rare and epic. That's tight. Red dragon or blue dragon?
Red. Classic.
Red. Okay, getting to it. Yo, balls, you're on pace. We're getting to something close to that. Spellcaster or melee if you're picking one for the rest of your life?
Caster. Every day.
Caster, let's fucking get it. D100 or D12?
I have people roll D100s all the time, so D100.
D100? I love it, man. Everyone goes D12 for the most part. Okay, if you're picking one up and you have to end someone's life with it, Great Axe or Great Sword?
Mathematically, Great Axe is the smart thing, but rule of cool is Great Sword. Let's
Yeah,
go.
big, right? No, agreed. The D12 is big, but I don't mind rolling some D6s. Let's get it. Okay, Elf or Dwarf?
Dwarf.
Love it. Gnome or Halfling?
No.
Gnome, okay. Tabaxi or Tiefling?
Tiefling.
Tiefling, immediate. I like that. I see that. I didn't even need to ask that one. That one's clear. Okay, think hard on this one, Nenners. Turtle or Tortle? And you know we stand turtles on this show.
I gotta go with the Ninja Turtles.
Great answer, my friend. Great answer. You can never go wrong. They can also, as an action, withdraw into their shell and raise their AC by 4. Come on. Come on.
I think without anything,
there's drawbacks. They have like disadvantage on some shit, but how cool. Okay. Okay, produce flame or firebolt?
Firebolt.
Firebolt, you fucking wizard sorcerer. I knew it. Guidance or mage hand?
Mage hand.
Mage hand, love it. Yeah, the uses are endless. But I love druid, so I end up going guidance. Mending or spare the dying?
Mending.
Wow. I have found that whenever a DM answers mending to that question, that they run a hectic campaign, and I like it. Okay. Healing word or cure wounds?
Healing word.
Healing word, doing it from a distance. Okay, great move there. Okay, this is a huge one. Fireball or lightning bolt?
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt, amazing. Okay, and give us a quick 15-second reason why.
I love the Palpatine imagery. Fireball is cool,
Palpatine,
but I
yeah.
think there's a tactic element of like just lining people up. Like, oh, why is a wizard walking out there? And just,
Yeah,
this
you're
huge
right.
beam of death. I love
He's
it.
sort of like running in his robes until 120 long beam of lightning. You're right.
The length is ridiculous too. So
Yeah,
it's awesome.
it's huge. But I forgot about Palpatine. That's hilarious. Okay. With your life on the line, mass suggestion or charm monster?
Oh, life on the line. Mass suggestion.
Ooh, cool.
Play.
Yeah, you can get
Yeah.
more people for sure. Okay, tight. But you can't suggest on a monster. Okay, Hunter's Mark or Hex?
Hex.
Hex, I like it. Freaky. You starting your next campaign in a tavern or a brothel? Those are the only choices.
Tavern or brothel? Oh boy. I like the classic tavern. I really do.
Okay.
Brothel does give some options, but I like the tavern. I think it's more dynamic, ironically.
Yeah, I do. There are some questions I let drop and some I pull back in. I gotta keep it fresh. Fey Realm or Plane of Nine Hells?
Fey Realm or the Plane of the Nine Hells?
Accurate.
Both are equally dangerous. I would go Fey.
Fey, okay, you're right. I feel like in ways, the Fey is more dangerous almost because like there's so much tricky stuff. Like in the Nine Hells, you know to watch out for everything. In the Fey, it could be a butterfly that's actually an archdruid, you know?
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck.
The Hells, I think it's just a matter of time if you're that lesser that you're just going to get into some horrible pact.
Yeah.
live
To
a
get out,
miserable
you
life.
mean?
At least with the Fae, you can maybe entertain somebody or go on some wild trip, so stepping on a mushroom or something.
And once again, the food will probably be better, I would imagine,
Oh,
in the Fey realm as well. This is hilarious. Okay, if someone attempts to sleight of hand one of your players, do you give them a perception check or do you use the passive perception?
Depends. If they are aware or vaguely, like if they're like I'm going to Mos Eisley, then I'm going to give them a perception check because they kind of expect it.
They're
right?
on guard because they know.
Yeah, you're on guard, exactly. If it's some 5-year-old they didn't pay any attention to, then it's passive perception.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, that's a great way to interpret it. Because I do think if someone had reason to suspect a person or a situation, that could totally justify a perception check.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like using passive perception because why the fuck did you dump wisdom? You know what I mean? Although I have done that myself, so I'm talking to myself
I was gonna
right
say,
now.
I'm in that team as well. Yep.
Totally. Okay, wizard or sorcerer?
Sorcerer.
We already got to that one.
Yep.
Cleric or warlock?
Warlock.
Warlock, let's go. Fighter or paladin?
Ooh. Oh God. I'm gonna go with fighter.
I knew you were because the old school. That's so good. To be honest, fighters are sick. I feel like it's hard not to. Okay, druid or ranger?
I like this.
I know what
class
Fooz is
of
picking.
druid. But Aragorn is so cool. I'm gonna go with the ranger.
Let's
just because
go.
That mental kind of melee.
Solidarity.
Like,
There it
Yeah.
is. Let's go. No, Aragon is so. It's just such a part of like fantasy pantheon. Okay, last question of the rapid fire. Yes or no? Should cats have dark vision?
Yes, 100%.
We've done it. Nenners! Absolutely yes. Like, what the hell? Why is that even a good... Like, have you never seen a cat? Have you ever interacted with a cat IRL?
At 3 a.m, pitch black, when they're doing hot laps in your living room, how do they not have dark vision? They don't be, like, concussed if they didn't.
Dude, yeah, agreed. It's sort of like they can't get around with that shit. Okay, I like the idea of table snacks, balls. I'm gonna change it to table snacks, sweet or savory.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, man. Nenners, this has been such a treat, dude. Truly, I've been a fan from afar. I mean, yeah, ditto, dude. I want to do more stuff. That's really a big goal of mine in 2023 is to get into other people's slipstreams, so to speak. You know what I mean? But tell us, man, like, how can we best stay in touch? How can we best support you? And like, where can we see you next?
It's pretty much through Fooz's Foozka, the Twitch channel where I hang out most, and I'll make a strong effort to be a little more available on Discord, but I'm pretty much, I have it open almost all the time. So this is a matter of me actually paying attention to it. But
Got you.
yeah, hop in our Discord or get me on Discord, and we can coordinate and go from there. But
dude, we will. We will. I'm 100% gonna make that happen. And Mimster, love you so much, dude. Shout out to a legend. Just contributed 2,000 bongo chongos to the Find Your Dog Challenge. That is a hefty sum, my friend. Truly, deeply appreciate that. Mim, you're my guy. I miss you. Appreciate
that's great.
Appreciate you breaking me off so hard. Okay, he'll be DMing on Fridays. Thank you for dropping the link. That is perfect. Guys, truly, give Nenners a follow. Give Fooz a follow. They're really amazing, talented, rad people, but they also just execute D&D in such a fun and unique way. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I love how you guys run your table, how sort of accessible it is. And it's just clear you guys are having a blast. You know what I mean? There's like a high level of joy. And you know what? Honestly, same thing for you, Mim, just because you popped in. Mim actually brought me in to play an NPC that's like borderline evil, has some motivations. And dude, it was absolutely, I mean, it was really one of the most fun things I did in the last quarter of last year's. It was insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah, appreciated that so much, man, and I appreciate that trust. Guys, if you like what you saw, drop me a follow. I stream on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Typically Monday, Wednesday is D&D stuff. I do campaign session prep on Monday. Usually Wednesdays are hanging out with just rad people like Nenners. I've had Mim on. I've had Fuzka on. We've got nobody lined up for next week, but we have some potentials and quite a fun schedule for February. And then on Fridays, and this is not for the faint of heart, but I voiced a character in Red Dead Redemption.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
And
I played the hell out of that game.
Dude,
Where were you?
Yeah, exactly. I'd never played, and I've been looking forward to it. I've been like, man, I can't wait to get in there. Okay, Frandy, I need to drop you a follow too. That's amazing. And if you stream, please let me know. But I'm basically Nenners trying to go back through on Friday and find my character in game so that I can hog tie him and commit some war crimes on his body.
Yeah, well, Red Dead is the one to do it.
Dude, I know. But see, here's the hard thing: is like they really don't promote dialogue in that game. It's very fucking hard for me to go. And off the time, whenever I walk to somebody's like, "You trying to dance, boy? You trying to fight? You trying to get fucked up, boy?" I'm just like, no, man, I'm just trying to hear you talk. And then I'm trying to leave. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, Nenners, you've been such a peach, man.
Awesome.
Truly, this was such a treat. Mim, Vogel, Insomnia, Fooz, Flandy, Balls, everybody. Gervanch, appreciate you rolling through. I mean, I don't know. I love getting on Twitch and chopping up with you guys. It feels so uplifting. The first time I ever streamed D&D, Mim and a dear friend of his, Ultraustic Latte, essentially raided me. And they came in. Dude, they brought like 8 or 9 people. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? What happened? And I mean, it really made my day, but it also just connected me with some rad people that sent me down a beautiful kind of spider web of just rad people that play D&D. So that's what we're going to do right now.
Let's go.
We're gonna raid D20 TV. They are, I believe, in the middle of an actual play live stream right now. So if you can, guys, roll with us. Let them know Carpe sent you. I always start the send-off a little bit early and then forget that it takes like 10 seconds to raid. So hold. And now we are ready. Nenners, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking time, for kicking it. The rest of you guys, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We are out.